Hello, my name is Amisha and I am a second year peer mentor for Encounter to Excellence. One of the things that was uncomfortable as a peer mentor my first year was being able to have conversation with students that were a bit difficult. For instance, I had a student who had difficulty with family issues as well as having a child, and being older than her, initial reaction in my mind is like, whoa, like how do I navigate that kind of conversation? How do I provide the necessary resources that she will need? And I think part of the ETE programming, especially PM scenarios, really helped me to develop, coming to terms with different situations that may arise, because during those scenarios, they were pretty extreme, and that, in a sense that during the training, it's like, is it really gonna happen? But it does. And so being prepared really helped me, and just overall programming of having peer mentors facilitate workshops with their trios weekly really helps with public speaking, because that was also another thing that I would struggle with, especially during summer bridge, because I don't like public speaking, but I mean, once you get to know me, you're like, are you really not a fan of public speaking? But I am not. But just doing those programming and having that exposure of actually facilitating and being challenged really helped me, and then I was able to continue working on that. And as a second year, I felt more comfortable with my students during summer bridge. So as an ATE peer mentor, being a second year, I feel that I really developed in my interpersonal and also intrapersonal development, in a sense that internally, I used to be someone who kind of needed a pat on the back when you did a good job, or you need to do this and you need to do that, and being told what to do instead of going out and doing it on my own. And I think the environment that the advisors has given me to just come out with my own ideas really helped. So in a sense, I was able to relate something from health science, and I thought it was good for the ETE staff. So I thought, why don't I just create a presentation? And I think the different workshops about, being a professional and really having everything organized really motivated me to have my presentation down, and really have papers and examples, so that way, like, foolproof, so that you couldn't say no because it was that good kind of idea. So I had it all done, and I did it on my own, and asking, feedback from my supervisors as well as other advisors, and then finally, making that meeting with 3 individuals, Zeta, Tiffany, and Myra, to see my presentation and to be able to present it in a local conference as well, which really helped, because again, I don't like public speaking, but here I am doing a conference and being able to talk in front of students. And then interpersonal, I think I'm learning to be more intentional and not making things generalized. So with my students, I really try to individualize with what they're telling me. For example, as a second year, I really have a lot of different majors, because my first year, I only really had to focus on business administration and for CBAP. And this year I'm arts and humanities, I'm under that, and there's many different majors, from theater arts, dancing, communications. And so having that variety of majors, I want to be intentional in the sense of what type of events on campus would relate to my students, and being able to remember, like, oh, one of my students wants to switch their major, and I noticed that there wasn't like a film major. But talking to other students who are actually a communications major, there's a media studies option. So having to remember that, like, oh, I know this student, and then telling my student, oh, there's not necessarily a film major, but there is a communication one, that you could do media studies for being a director that you wanted to do. And so being intentional in the programming, events, and also talking to my students, hopefully by October 22nd, which is registration begins for our campus. I did mention to my students that I wanted to hold like a mini workshop where we all just come together and like enroll in courses, because I'm seeing that's the one thing that students continuously come for with help when it's registration time, is how do I put classes in my shopping cart, but if I can have all of them all at once, it would be perfect. So second year here, and I feel that I am right now at Authors of One Life. for interpersonal development, which is something different from my presentation of interpersonal development. And the reason being, as coming in as a first year prementer, I actually kind of want to date it a little bit back as like a freshman. Being a student who got good grades, I had to always be that type of student because in my family it was like good grades or no house shelter. So I really wanted to really do well in my grades, so that all I was known for was, oh, you have good grades. And then coming in as a first year mentor, I kind of needed, again, the satisfaction of someone saying you're doing a good job, or waiting to know exactly how I'm supposed to act and react to certain situations. So I'm really someone who is a people pleaser. And I think going through the workshops and understanding that, you know, you have your own values, your own beliefs, your own thoughts and feelings really helped to shape who I am now as a second year, because before I didn't know what to do with my major, because I love all things. I want to be a teacher, a lawyer, you know, be in medicine. So there's so many different things, and I thought you only had to be one thing or go through one avenue. And going through the workshops, I realized, you know, you can major in one thing and then end up going to master's for a different thing. And I've actually learned to combine two things I like to do. I like the whole mentoring concept and the whole counseling with individuals, but I really do like the health-related subjects. So I thought, like, you know, combine those two things, and I found out there was a job, and it's a health consultant. So I've been really looking into that more, being able to talk to professors and telling them, like, this is what I want to do. And now I am trying, in the process of reaching out to professors I never had as a professor for any class, but a former professor of mine stated that she's a health consultant and she wants to be, and she's also a professor, and her whole career route is what I want. So I want to conduct an informational interview, and also knowing that yesterday, actually, I got to share with some of the things that I do with my classmates in health science. And one thing that stood out to me that actually kind of boosted up a little bit of my self-confidence was that I was a go-getter, that anything that I wanted, apparently I just go and get it. And I've seen that kind of behavior a little bit since I was a little kid and growing up. And I think I always have to remind myself, because again, experiences come and go, and it kind of knocks down your self-confidence, and then boosting it back up is hard. And I think being a peer mentor really boosted that up for me, because I am a go-getter and I realize it, and I'm okay with saying that I am. And anything that I want, I'm gonna really work hard to go get. So that's who I've become, and just owning it has really been nice, and just being a self-advocate for myself, for the communities I'm a part of, and learning how to do that, because again, there's room to learn, and as my daddy always says, knowledge is power.
Hello, my name is Cedric Flores. I am a fourth year here at Dominguez Hills. I am serving currently as the lead peer mentor for the Encounter to Excellence program. I would say what made me feel uncomfortable as my first time being a peer mentor was having just having the ability to kind of like talk in front of like a whole cohort of students, because before, you know, I'm used to just talking like one-on-one, but then this is like more of like a group setting. And I never really had that experience of like talking in front of like a big group like consistently, and, you know, making sure that they're doing well in school. And I also feel like probably just being put into like a team setting, because before, you know, I usually always had like a boss or a supervisor, but in this case, like we had like other peer mentors, several advisors, a director, and, you know, various staff that helped us become like who we were. And I feel like what benefited me here working in ET was that we had the advantage of having like role playing between like peer mentors who were older than us. We had presentations that kind of like assessed our abilities and kind of improved them. We also had like check-ins with our advisors and kind of like tips and advice to kind of like better improve like our mentoring with our students. And I also feel like workshops that we facilitated and were a part of helped us kind of grow. And I would want to say that if I hadn't had this job, I probably wouldn't have cared for like education as much, because before I did have like a difficulty like caring about education. But once I became a peer mentor and mentoring students about having them do good in school. It helped me do better in school. And professionally, I attended the Haku conference back in October of last year. And it really helped me kind of network, kind of know different schools, different career choices, and it really helped me become the person that I am today. So I feel like the area that I grew the most was interpersonal, because before I usually used to be like reserved. I didn't really want to talk to people. And here at ET, we kind of have to talk to our coworkers, advisors, students, staff, like any type of people in general. And I feel like, that really helped out a lot, especially from where I am now as a senior, because as a sophomore, I really didn't care to talk to people. If I did, then it's usually like they had to have to approach me. But now, the way I am now, I'm usually the one that approaches them. I'm usually the one that checks up, like, oh, like, how are you doing? Like, is everything going good? How's the semester? As opposed to before, where I probably wouldn't even have asked any of those questions. I probably would have just been, oh, it's just another person. And with staff, I feel like I really made a good rapport with staff, that I feel like I even feel more comfortable talking to, like, my professors. But, once you get that, like, ability to talk to, like, various people, you start becoming comfortable, and then it becomes naturally to you. Not just in person, but also in email, or like just any person that you see, like, that you see along campus.